Mother Angelica was a Gen Z before Gen Z was a thing.
Dude, she so was the
Bass,
time
right?
she interrupted the Denver World Youth Day
Stations of the Cross
with the
and
Stations of the
ripped into it.
Cross,
That
and then
set
just
it
ripped
all
into
off.
it. Oh, I loved it. I've seen it probably 20 times. I cry every time. I love her so much.
I do too.
Yeah. Well,
Tell me about it.
Well, it kind of frame the stories a little bit. I was invited. I was teaching at Franciscan University. I was teaching scripture, and then Mother heard my story and wanted me to come on her show. This is where she interviews. She has 2 shows a week. One is just talking, the other one's interviewing. So I got the call that she wants me to come on the show. So I came on the show, and halfway through the show, she says, "Honey," she said, "we need a show from you. You know, the people need to hear this. Would you pray about doing a show for us? 12 weeks or so." And I said, "Sure, yes." She goes, "Ah!" And then when the show was over, we hit it off so well on the show. It was like a comedy hour, And we got off. We were walking off the set. She grabs me by the arm and she said, "Honey," she said, "would you pray about moving here and starting your own show?" She said, "I've had a desire to reach the young adults."
How old were you at the time, roughly?
35.
Okay.
A lot younger than you at that time, I think.
Significantly.
Patina. So she said, "Would you pray about that?" And I said, "Yeah, I would." And so I prayed with Bishop Paul Dudley for a while about it, and Father Michael Scanlon.
Okay.
And
you were living here?
I was living here.
Yeah.
Steubenville.
Yep.
Yeah. And I decided, this is what I'm going to do. And so I gave up my position here. I went down to Alabama and started Life on the Rock. And then about 6 months after I was there, I get a call from her. I'll tell you a couple funny stories, but I get a call from her, and she says, I want you to meet me in my office." And I said, "Okay." So I went down there, and I thought I was in trouble. The Mother doesn't just call you down there to say, "Hey, you having a good day?" And I thought I was in trouble. And I said, so she comes in the office, cling, clang, clang, and with all of her braces. And I said, "So what are we talking about here today?" And she said, "Well, I'll tell you." And then she said, "Sometimes I'm not feeling well. And sometimes I'm sick. And I just wanted to know if you would substitute for me on my show and do the show when I can't make it. Or if I'm not feeling well, we'll do it together and you can lead it." And I said, "Yeah, I'm honored. I mean, yeah, thank you. It's better than being fired." And I said, "I'm curious. Why me? I mean, you could ask anybody to do this, but why me?" And she said, "Well, I'll tell you." She said, "I know you're thoroughly Catholic, but you sound like a Protestant." And she said, "I like that." And that was it. That was the reason. And I like, all right, I'm in. So for 6 years, I subbed for her, and we did shows together. She didn't feel really good at times, but there was one funny. I
gotta look this up. I gotta see what you look like next to her.
You get the show where she was healed, and then she was healed on her Wednesday night show. A lady from Italy came over and said that the Lord told her to come and pray for Mother. Now, for those that don't know Mother Angelica, she was always walking around in braces, a back brace, leg, arm, everything. And that Wednesday night, this lady wanted to pray with Mother, and Mother said, "I'll come into my office." And a lot of people, when you're a host of a show, a lot of people come in. The Lord tells them to come in and to do things, And so they went into the office, the same office that she would talk to me in, and a miracle took place.
You've gotten better looking with age.
Isn't that something? That's when I did her show.
They say that. Well, Laura Horn says that. She says, "Look, it's unfair. Men, as they age, they get better looking." Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
You'd gotten better looking.
Thursday, did you hear that?
Should he say that again? All right, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Okay, so this lady was healing, or was praying for her, and suddenly this light flashed in the office.
What?
And she was healed instantly.
Were you there?
No, I was, where I was?
In the bathroom.
Father Karapi.
Missed the whole
Father
thing.
Karapi and I were supposed to get together for dinner that night. He was down there. He was going to be on a show.
Yeah.
And he didn't show up for dinner. I didn't know where he was. Later that night at 9 o'clock, he calls me and says, "Did you hear?" And I said, "Hear what?" "Mother's healed." I said, "What do you mean Mother's healed?" "She was healed. She got healed." I said, "Like spiritually or something?" "No, physically." I said, "You got to be kidding. She's not wearing the brace anymore." So the next morning I get a call from Mother and she says, "Honey, can you come on down and see me?" And now this was behind the bars. Normally she wasn't behind the bars, but she wanted me to come down there with all the sisters there. So I thought, okay, well, it's really early in the morning. So I drive over there. I go down. There I go. She comes into this room, and she's standing there with no braces, and she twirls.
Wow.
And I'm like, she goes, "What do you think?" And I said, "Wow." And all the sisters are so happy, she's totally healed. And then she said, "Honey, do you think I could come on your show tonight and tell the world?" And I said, "Mother, you own the place. You can do anything you want. Of course, I would love to have you." And so that night, I opened the show. You always open a show with a tease. That is a little bit of what we're going to talk about. We'll be back in a moment. And I held up her braces. And I said, "One of the nuns has been wearing these braces for X amount of years. Not any longer." We'll talk about that next on Life on the Rock. And then lights lit up all over the world, people calling in. Everyone's all excited. And then she shows up on the show and she tells the story of what happened.
You got to find us this video. I'd love to watch it.
Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the show, she says, "Honey, let's dance." And I'm like, "I don't dance. I'm
not on purpose.
When I dance, people try to rescue me. I'm not a dancer." Give him his meds.
Yeah.
And she says, "Let's dance." I'm like,
"Sure."
Okay. And so I'm dancing with Mother Angelica, and I don't even know what dance it would be called, but a mess. And we danced, and that day will go down in history as the day that she told the world that she was healed. And
did the healing remain?
Yes, it remained, and we stayed close. And she eventually had a very serious stroke, which turned everything around. And I was with her in intensive care on that, and I would talk to her, and then she'd blink her eyes for like yes and no. And I owe her a lot, to be honest with you.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.